And action. So I'm hoping that visual and sound cue will help line up the audio better this time than in my first video. So welcome to hopefully what will be the second video of this year, and another meditation. Today I was thinking about talking briefly about metta and then doing meditation to go along with that. My most popular meditation on Insight Timer, and the first one I ever wrote and submitted, was my 10-minute metta. And the biggest complaint I really got from it, for the most part, was that it was too short. So I just inserted time and I made the 20-minute metta, because I figured if it would work with the same words, and it has worked. Metta is sometimes translated as loving kindness. That's the most popular translation. The teacher who I listen to most on the topic, Thanissaro Bhikkhu, prefers goodwill. And I think that is easier to really broadly use, and especially to use in the early phases of cultivating metta or goodwill. And the idea he uses is that we don't necessarily have to feel loving kindness, or that term doesn't necessarily apply to like a snake or a scorpion, or perhaps the person who is torturing you, or whatever it is. But you can have goodwill for them, because the idea being that you're wishing for that person's well-being, and in them gaining that well-being, they'd be less likely to cause harm. In the case of animals, it's a little different, but there have been anecdotes of creating a safer space by cultivating goodwill. The Thai forest masters would find themselves in the forests and with some creatures that might have done them harm. But to stay with metta in general, it's one of the 4 Brahma Viharas, sometimes translated as divine abodes, or sublime attitudes, heavenly abodes. They are basically it's the way of being for the gods, the Brahmas, and I like the idea of abode. Attitude works as well, but it's where we are trying to come from, where the seat of our awareness, I guess. And one of the traits of all 4 is that they're limitless. So we begin cultivating them the best we can, and whatever way we know how, and there are different techniques to begin that cultivation. And once we get the feeling, then we can start to spread that feeling. And ultimately the idea is to make it limitless. There's no end to the goodwill we can feel. There's no we're not going to empty it out. We're not going to use too much on somebody and not have enough for another person. It's a limitless state. So that's a little hint to its application in meditation. That it's a good concentration object. A very common concentration object, of course, is the breath. I use that all the time. That's my main one, I'd say. But using metta, either by itself or in conjunction with the breath especially, is very helpful for concentration. So, in the interest of keeping these videos fairly concise, I'm going to get into a meditation. And last time I did a brief meditation, and then I read a short sort of meditation poem. I think this time, instead of reading a poem, I'll just recite the Metta Sutta, the teaching on goodwill, and it'll be a nice spot to just sort of just let the words wash over. It's not, you don't necessarily have to try to apply the words as they come. Just let it be sort of an ambiance, and if something grabs you, if something inspires you, then by all means, enjoy that. So, let's get ready. Make yourself very comfortable. Sometimes they talk about, with cultivating metta in particular, you want to get particularly comfortable. Because you're creating goodwill for yourself. So we're not being quite as austere as we sometimes are. We don't worry as much about not budging. Sometimes some meditation, it totally makes sense to do that, to plow through Zen practice, and there are different ones. But with this one, just make sure that you're taking care of yourself, especially well. So let's see, 7.5 minutes in. That's not too bad. Okay, got my bowl. All right, get comfy. Let's start by taking a few nice, deep, refreshing breaths, just exploring the full range of our potential for breathing. And now allowing the breath to come to a state that just feels perfect for right now. Sometimes the very deep breathing is perfect. You can pull back a little bit. Sometimes the breath wants to be very soft. We're looking to the breath for its most nourishing, soothing, relaxing traits. The breath is there to refresh, to exchange the gases in the body. And really begin sensing the breath in the body, really looking to that easy pleasure, the soothing nature, the inner massage that is the breath. We are applying our metta, our goodwill, right from the outset. In fact, we were applying it before we started meditating, when we had the idea of coming here to sit. In a way, it was a goodwill for ourselves, looking after our well-being. And sometimes it's difficult to look after ourselves well. We, for whatever reason, feel that our energy is best spent elsewhere. There's too much to do, too many people to take care of, obligations, commitments, contracts. But we have to consider that all those must be placed on the foundation of a well-kept self. But even that can sometimes be difficult. So this can be a good time to bring up an image of a benefactor. I like to think of the image of someone who you can imagine looking at you with kind and loving eyes. Someone that you know, without a doubt, has goodwill for you. Just look around for that person or being. It can be a caregiver, a child, a pet. Just finding those eyes and allowing them to fall upon you with kindness, goodwill. They wish the best for you. You know without a doubt, when those eyes are looking at you, that you are worthy of goodwill. So if you can feel that feeling even a little bit, that's the feeling you want to stay with. You can use your breath as a guide, as you can imagine breathing into that feeling. Like fanning a flame. Feelings are a little like that. We can give rise to them, and we can extinguish them depending on the way we use our awareness. So now we're staying with the feeling of goodwill. And you can think of it as an interchange as well. That person that you can imagine looking upon you with kind eyes, and you can look back at them and feel the same. And feeling the easy, pleasant, quiet time that we're having now in meditation. Let these things come together. Let your well-being flourish. Breathe into the goodwill. Grow the awareness throughout your body, throughout your mind. And just looking into that feeling and understanding it as something that has the potential to be limitless. It never runs out. There's no limitation of time. There's no limitation of space. There's no being that you can't feel this for. Even beings who are difficult. You wish that they could see. You wish that they could be well so that they could also share in this limitless. This capacity for limitless goodwill. And just continuing to stay with the breath and try to just lightly stay with this feeling as I move through the reading of the sutta. And just be in your own space. You can zone out. You don't have to pay attention to every word. Just, this is for the cultivation of your own goodwill for yourself and for everybody. One who is skillful in the cultivation of well-being, who wishes to break through to the state of peace, should be capable, upright, and straightforward, open, gentle, and without conceit, content and easily supported, living lightly with few duties, wise with faculties all at peace, modest without greed for supporters, and should not do the least thing that the wise would criticize. One should reflect happy and secure. May all beings be happy at heart, whatever beings there may be, weak or strong, without exception, long, large, middling, short, subtle, blatant, near or far, seen or unseen, born or seeking birth. May all beings be happy at heart. One should not deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere, nor through anger or aversion wish for another to suffer. Just as a mother would risk her own life to protect her child, her only child, so one should cultivate a limitless heart in regard to all beings. With goodwill for the entire cosmos, one should cultivate a limitless heart, above, below, and all around, whether walking, standing, sitting, or lying down, without obstruction, ill will, or hate. Whenever one is alert, one should be resolved in this mindfulness. This is called a divine abiding, here and now. One who is virtuous, consummate in vision, not taken by views, and having overcome clinging to sensual pleasure, shall never be born again in this world.